18 women's division, and it's going to be the Australian 18 facing off against the New Zealand Obsidian team. This is the 2-3 playoff of this one, and of course we'll see the finals tomorrow morning. Just after this, we have the first seed versus fourth seed, which will be the New Zealand under 18 women's diamond team against the Australian under 18 women's Obsidian B team. Just trying to sort out having both myself and Devin in the commentator's booth. Try that out.
I think we're all set up, ready to go.
Perfect. Now, the first buzz is gone. It looks like the girls have pushed it all the way out, away from our cameras to start off with. Can't really see who's got possession at the moment. Looks like an early drive from New Zealand, though, down that back wall. Side wall, should I say.
Australia really starting to look like they're scrambling a bit from the very get-go, which is a great position for New Zealand to be in from the start. Though Australia has, in most grades, had fantastic defensive work. So New Zealand really does have to work to get that first goal if they want to convert off their first attacking push.
New Zealand putting it right in that corner. We've seen this Obsidian team before, really looking straight down this wall. Australia, of course, doing a good job rotating this early in the game. Lots of energy for both of these teams. And we'll see which team will be the first to break it out of that corner.
Seems both teams have kind of come up for air, making a lot of space on the bottom of the pool. Really good opportunity for either team to make a break, but it seems both teams are quite content at holding it in the wall, especially the Australians as a defensive move.
Yeah, I would be very surprised to see the Australians bring it out into the centre of the court, this close to their defensive goal tray.
Definitely be a brave move.
Indeed.
Seems to be quite clean, as none of the refs are playing any sort of advantage or made any hint of it. So good to see both girls' teams playing a nice clean game to start off.
Yeah, often the easiest way to get it out of that corner is just to wait for one of the refs to see something, and then you get a chance to push it out 3 metres. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen here for Australia. They're going to need to get the numbers down and push it out along that side wall. And this might be it. They've pushed out a couple of metres. Looks like the New Zealand team able to stop them though.
Good drive from an Australian there, but doesn't look like she's got the numbers to get down behind her, and New Zealand is just coming straight back at her.
And back in that corner from New Zealand, they're coming along the back wall now. Good reload there to the back, but it looks like Australia's managed to push it back into the corner. We'll see if either team wants to try to find some space here. Just a lot of work on the corner and the side wall there very early in this game.
This corner that they're in is probably the hardest spot for both teams to be in, as it's not easy for either team to get a fresh sub in. So they've been playing a good solid few minutes now without any subbing, so mistakes are bound to start happening.
Yeah, you can see the first Australian sub coming all the way across the pool, leaving only 2 backs to defend, but it looks like they've managed to keep it out while that sub comes all the way across. Pushed a couple metres out now, and it looks like they're heading for the sort of halfway point of the court. And it comes a little way off the wall here. Not sure who has possession even, as it's a long way away from our cameras. Looks like New Zealand able to turn that drive around though.
Australia going for a big hit down the wall. Seems to be a very wall-focused game today. Call by the refs. Stick infringement against the Australian under-18 team.
Yeah, lots of subs coming out from both teams. Obviously very tired, playing so far away from their sub benches for such a long time. Ooh, I think my mic was turned off this whole time. I think I might just be reading off your mic, Tim. Testing, testing. Is that better for everyone?
I'm not.
Well, hopefully there hasn't been any problems. It's possible that we just had the computer microphone picking up Devin before.
There's a very high chance of that. Not the greatest of technological things. We've got an advantage being played by one of the in-water referees, but the advantage has been lost.
And it looks like New Zealand really pushing down this back wall again. We've seen a lot of work done by this New Zealand team against the other New Zealand team just yesterday down this back wall, and it really seems to be where they favour taking the puck on ball score. We've scored on this back ball, but as I say that, it looks like they've managed to put one in. All the refs seem very happy with that. And that's number 9 to New Zealand there.
Mackenzie Morgan, number 9.
Putting that goal. And New Zealand, great work there, pushing it all the way down that back wall.
It's not an easy way to score.
Yeah, it looks like the Australians thought they had it covered a little better than they actually did. And too many people going to the surface there.
So the score with 10 minutes to go, New Zealand 1, Australia 0 in the semi-final for the under-18 women's grade.
New Zealand a little bit quicker this putt, quickly rips around the side. We might see it back on that wall. Fortunately though, it's come to our camera side wall, so we might be able to give you a bit of a better idea what's happening. The Australians seem keen to take them to the middle. The referee calling against New Zealand there. That's a chopping or a stick infringement foul. Against New Zealand.
Stick infringement is when the player either hits their arm or stick instead of going for the puck first, which is not acceptable. Happens quite a lot in this game though, as the sticks aren't actually that big, so it's quite hard to hit the puck sometimes.
Yeah, well, the puck, unfortunately, not always stationary.
That is true.
Person in control is going to be moving around.
Bit of
pushed by the Australian. We'll see if the referees want to call that against her. It looked like she was using her body quite a bit.
Yeah, I thought that would have been an obstruction call, but it seems one of the refs is playing an advantage, but it seems to be an advantage for the Australians. So an obstruction from the New Zealand team, which must have been their arm reaching underneath.
Yeah, and, interesting call out. I think maybe the Australian didn't make as much ground as it looked like on the camera, which is maybe why they didn't pull her up there. It looks like they want to send out one of the New Zealand players from in at number 10.
Or it's just a warning, I think. Well, oh no, they are sending them out for 1 minute for obstruction. It must have been a lot different to what we saw on the camera.
Yeah, of course, it's pretty hard to see what's going on. And obviously it must have been very deliberate to be sent out without a warning here. Australia, good flicking onto the goal tray, but New Zealand is just managing to push that one out into their defensive corner. And the referees have called another stick infringement foul against Australia. Looks like that was number 6 on the Australian team there, Maddie Lowry. Just using a stick a bit too much as New Zealand has cleared that one out from the corner.
So the New Zealanders still down to 5, which is quite an entertaining time because I've seen a lot of teams come back from having someone sent out and actually scoring with 5 when they haven't been able to score all game. It's almost like they get an extra boost of energy because they're like, oh no, I don't have another player to support me, so I better do some work.
Yeah, you definitely got to do a lot more yourself, and that's sometimes just a push you need. Also, the bragging rights when you score with 5 against a team of 6 down.
That does help as well, especially when you're down to 4 and you can still manage to score.
Yeah, I think I've only seen that once. One of our nationals here, the Tasmanian team had 4 against a Queensland team, and player Nicholas Young swam the entire length of the pool from the defensive corner and put it in the goals.
Fantastic. An advantage puck against the New Zealanders again. Really wondering if the Australians going to capitalise on this, but the New Zealanders have sent out a strong offensive to put pressure on the Australians, but the Australians are recycling well, keeping the puck on their sticks, putting a lot of pressure.
Keeping it in the centre.
Fantastic drive from the New Zealand defender.
Push it out. Number 10 there.
Referee getting into the camera again.
Yeah, and that was Phoenix coming in off the sin bin and being able to push that one out, saving that goal.
Phoenix hailing from Tauranga should I say, from the middle of the North Island.
A good work from here. Obviously got to catch a couple of deep breaths while thinking about what she'd done wrong. That obstruction call against her, a very early kick out, but it looks like New Zealand will be able to hold with 5 and now back to full force. A lot of subs coming in here now from both teams as it's just pinned right between both sub benches. We can see number 3 from both teams, that's Anastasia Burns from New Zealand and Ella Croft from Australia battling down that wall. Looks like Australia's managed to get a bit of possession though, but the New Zealand numbers might be too much here.
Great work back tackle from the Australia, but New Zealand's got a lot of numbers on the ground and a great body position as well, getting nice and low to the ground.
Oh, a bit of a mistake by the Australian player there, just losing a grip on the puck, and New Zealand quick to capitalise, coming over the top and swimming it right in towards that Australian defensive corner.
Number 7 from New Zealand making a good drive up the wall, Emily Cronfield. And number 3, Anastasia Burns, their vice captain, plays from Wellington in the Wellington Girls College.
And he's not doing a good job here, pushing all the way back into the corner. And now, a long way down the back wall, Australia find a gap.
Great flick.
Flick it out wide. Looks like they're just trying to get it back under their sub bench and use the extra numbers here to push it out.
It's a great tactic used by defensive players, getting it right in front of their sub bench, locking it down and getting some fresh players in to make a big strong drive, but it's also giving the New Zealanders a small opportunity to get some fresh subs in as well.
Yeah, and it looks like Australia on a bit of a 45 drive here, taking it away from the camera side here.
Okay, so I can hear you really well, but I can barely hear you.
Really?
Yep. So
Is that right now, or was that like 5 minutes ago? Because I had this mic turned off.
That's right now.
That's right now. Okay, that's not good. That's the same problem we were having
So
yesterday,
we're getting
right?
this feed, but if you talk,
Hello.
Hello. So we're just trying to fix the mic.
I'm just going to try and put them as
loudness
2
here.
separate inputs. So just hold
Yeah,
on
that's
for a
cool.
second, Gideon.
For some reason, they don't like having me as the louder voice, and I can't figure it out.
Oh, I love having you in control now.
That's our audio specialist, Nick Martin. Yeah.
Also president of Australian Underwater Hockey, and
Switch it. Looks like New Zealand could shut that down. Nice goal in the middle by Australia. Finds not in time. New Zealand take control of that one back onto that ball. And good work from New Zealand, really shutting down the Australians as they try to bring it out into the open here. Nice little maneuver there from the Australian, but couldn't quite catch an upper on her. And she's brought it out in the middle and found a lot of space for her team, reloading down to the back there.
and it's a stick infringement against the Australians.
The referee's going to call a timeout.
It does look like it. I think it's a team timeout for the New Zealand team.
And New Zealand look like they've just got the better of this half so far. Although Australia's had a couple of good drives on goal as well, especially a couple of free pucks right against the New Zealand defensive tray. New Zealand doing a great job defending with 5 there for just 1 minute.
Good. Try something a little bit out there. Try that.
Test.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Alright, just talk from it. Oh, hang on. It's capturing it from here. From here. Yeah, hang on.
Yeah.
Let's fuck that. Sorry, I mean, let's get rid of that.
So everyone, you think we managed to figure this out 4 days into the competition now?
Well, we haven't had multiple commentators for ages.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, through that, yeah.
And the New Zealand team here setting up to attack with just 3.5 minutes left on the clock. We'll see if either team can put another goal in. And it looks like our middle camera's frozen again. We'll see if we can get someone in there to fix that.
New Zealanders
As
are
soon
making a
as possible.
strong drive up that side wall once again. Not as many numbers on the bottom as they usually have, but they seem to be putting the numbers now as they go closer to the bin.
We could try something completely different here and unplug the whole lot, and you both just talk to the laptop. You try that?
Sure. Do you want to bring it in the middle there?
Yeah, to ditch all of this. If you both just sit that in the middle, you shouldn't have to be too close by because it's going to pick everything up.
Yeah.
We might just want to close that window to keep some background. Oh, that bit of background noise never hurt anyone. Just means anyone who's in the room needs to. You got enough brownies there, Bryce?
Never everyone.
Really.
Alright everyone, we're back here with a new setup. We've taken out all of the external microphones and just using our laptop here to pick up the sounds. So if you get any additional sounds from around the room, we apologise for that. But
It definitely makes it seem like you're more likely in the pool complex and really enjoying the atmosphere.
yeah, it's like you're here with all the action. You'll get to hear all the warm-up music from all the different teams. Everyone seems to have their own speaker.
Yeah.
And they're all playing their own music.
It's surprising how gangster the New Zealand teams are and how.
Oh, great drive here from Australia, though. It looks like they've pushed it right next to the goal. I'm not sure if that one went in.
By the ref, and
No,
it's
it's
no
good.
goal.
Going to be against Australia there.
Not sure what the call is for. Strong effort from the Australians. I really think the Australians are going to really fire up as they usually do in the second half. They seem to find their feet quite often in the second half and really make a massive drive for their either a comeback or taking it off, keeping their lead nice and strong. Make an exciting semi-final, that's for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I've played in a number of Australian teams, Devon, and it seems every time our first half is just a bit slow and lackluster, but in the second half, hopefully, we'll be able to ramp up and push a couple more goals in. But still, good work there from that Australian team. Looks like they've managed to do another little 45.
The New Zealanders have managed to hold possession.
Going out, I just wish we had that little camera working. We are getting that fixed as soon as possible.
We can take a guess at what's happening, and I'm assuming the Australians and the New Zealanders are both battling away at the wall, as the New Zealanders seem to like to keep it nice and close to the wall, and the Australians probably trying to take it off. And
Australia now driving on 45, but New Zealand looks like they may clear it out to the opposite side of the goal tray.
Great defensive work from the New Zealanders, stopping down that strong drive from the Australian team.
The refs might not have liked it though. We're going to see which way this call goes.
One person has been sent out for a minute.
And that's the Australian.
Must have had a team warning, or it would have been a pretty horrendous stick infringement, because you can be sent out without a warning.
Yeah, especially if the refs think it was a deliberate foul, maybe trying to push that goal in. That was number 11 from Australia, Annika Keel, getting sent out for 1 minute, we believe. And New Zealand now sensing a bit of weakness in the Australian team, down to 5 and pushing all the way down that back wall. We'll see how far they can get before the Australian team rallies.
It would be ideal for the Australians to keep it close to where the sin bin is, so that they can get that player in straight into the game, but I'm not sure that's going to be happening. Thanks for the shout out, Mackenzie Edwards.
And that's half time here. Good work from both teams. New Zealand leading 1-0. A couple of kickouts here from both teams. Obviously, these are under-18 girls getting a little bit amped up, as this is, of course, the semi-final, and the winner of this game gets the right to play tomorrow morning in the final against the winner of the under-18 women's diamond team and the under-18 women's B team from Australia, which we played just after this. And we're just wondering how the sound is. It looks like Mackenzie Edwards says it's good. That's good, Mackenzie. We're glad you're enjoying the stream.
Mackenzie probably watching right now from Wellington, I would assume. A Phoenix representative, same club as myself. No. So on the New Zealand Obsidian team, we have number 2, Alicia Samuels. New Zealand under-18 woman number 3 is Anastasia Byrne, vice captain. 4, Eddie Grant. 5, Olivia Houston, captain. 6, Sarah Wilson. 7, Emily Cronfield. 8, Jade Beckham. 9, Mackenzie Morgan. 10, Phoenix Hinade. And 11, Sophie Lawler, with the coach Bowman Morgan.
And on the Australian team, we've got number 1, Jade Boyle. Number 2, Isabel Dunn, the captain. Number 3, Ella Croft. Number 4, Natalie Ardale. Number 5, Emma Horak. Number 6, Maddie Laurie. Number 7, Lily Ladd-McGovern. Number 9, Elise Cleary. Number 10, Mihaela Fannin. Number 11, Annika Keel. And number 12, Maggie Biffin, the vice-captain. And we have had a couple of problems with our team lists yesterday, so if any of those are wrong, just let us know in the comments of the YouTube video here, or come over and tap on the glass if you're in the Aquatic Centre in Hobart at the moment. We do like to get things right, and it looks like they're about to kick off now, just 45 seconds, and we can see Annika Keel still got a little bit longer on the sin bin here as the second half's going to get underway.
She won't be able to get into the pool until the strike has been played and the puck has been touched, as the person in the sin bin cannot get into the water until game play has been started. Bo giving his team, Bowman Morgan, also known as Bo, is giving his team a little amp up to try and get them firing again. 1-0 is definitely not a safe place to be sitting at start of the second half.
Indeed, and while the New Zealand team have had a lot of good attempts at goal, the Australian team putting on a good offensive effort themselves, coming very close to a goal a couple of times there. And it looks like we're still trying to get that camera number 2 fixed. I can see our man in the water there just trying to restart that one now. As it looks like New Zealand driving up the far wall away from our cameras and pushing it, looks like all the way into the corner as we get Annika Keel here getting back into the water. So back to a 6-on-6 now. In just a couple of seconds. There she goes.
This might be a bit of a surprise for the New Zealanders, having someone suddenly jump in out of nowhere. Hopefully they were prepared for that.
Yeah, it looks like it's just locked down, so they'll have plenty of time to repair. They're trying to drive down this back wall again here now. This New Zealand team have had a lot of practice doing this. We've seen a lot of this during the competition. Just forfeiting that open space in the middle, just to pile on numbers down the wall and try to put that one right in the edge of the goal tray.
New Zealand going for a strong drive towards the bin. Australia is getting some nice body position, but there's been a no-goal call.
So New Zealand is getting the puck in the goal, but it looks like the refs deciding a bit too much body was used there. It's going to be a barging call against New Zealand, as Australia's going to get a chance to set up 3 metres away from their goal tray.
So for those of you who are new to the sport or don't quite understand the rules, you can't use your body to either obstruct the puck or use your body to barge through the other team. You have to be nice and clean with the puck without obstructing and not letting the other team reach it with your body. Strong drive from New Zealand, but Australia have managed to take it out nicely.
And that beeping you hear is us getting our camera set up again here. So hopefully we'll have that middle camera ready to go in just a couple of seconds. New Zealand here, holding it in the corner. It looks like they're going to want to drive aggressively down this back wall again. And Australia, not interested in letting them do that, as we've got multiple Australians there trying to push it up the wall. Number 3, Ella Croft, trying to get a bit of action up that wall. Looks like she's going to get rolled around by multiple New Zealand players there.
Number 7, Emily Kronfeld, going for a bit of a drive up the back wall. Oh, that was a close flick to the head. I'm not sure if the refs saw that one, though. Seemed to be popping up off the stick, so the refs probably didn't call it as a foul.
And it seems like
massive drive.
The Australians only just holding their own here. Seems like every time an Australian's down with their bat on the puck, they're the last one down, protecting that goal. Here come the New Zealanders again. Good flick. Looks like the Australians caught it, and the referees seem happy that she caught it on her bat as well. And Australia now taking it away from that corner towards their sub-bench.
I think the New Zealanders need to be a little bit more careful, to be honest, with those flicks that they're sending off. They were quite close to the head, and you never want to get pulled up for an unsportsmanlike conduct call. That's what you'd call if you hit someone in the head, and you'd probably get sent out. Advantage being played by the ref, but it's been taken away now.
Oh, New Zealand turning this one around. Looked like the Australians had a bit of a drive going, but New Zealand now coming towards that goal tray. Looks like Australia able to screen them off though.
Some good solid back tackling from the Australians, getting down nice and low, not letting the New Zealanders play their game.
And it looks like Australia now, all the way across the pool, New Zealand able to rip that one back into the middle, but it looks like the backs from Australia are able to get there first. And now under heavy pressure as they try to swim it wide. She's found a bit of space for herself though, not sure who that is, but up this back wall, up this side wall rather, towards the corner.
This is the first attacking moment for Australia in the second half. Whether they convert, we're unsure, but it's definitely not a good position for the New Zealanders to be sitting in.
Yeah, lots of New Zealanders there putting their bodies in between the puck and the goal. Really do not want a sneaky drive by the Australians putting that one in. And now it's the Australians who are locking it in that offensive
Call being made by ref Jared Boyens. Gloving against the Australians.
It's a good work by New Zealand there. Great drive by the Australians, but New Zealand were able to keep it out of that dangerous centre corridor and push away into the corner. And we'll see if New Zealand can break out here with this free, or whether Australia will be able to contain them. Late subs coming in from Australia here. Only really 4 players in position as New Zealand take the puck.
Once again, it's that awkward position on the far side of the pool where neither team can really get a sub in. It's a little bit easier for the defending team, but it's not exactly the nicest spot to be putting his team into.
Yeah, hopefully the players here will be incentivised to bring it towards their sub-bench where we can see them a little more clearly on our cameras.
Bit of a free arm from the Australians going against them. Another advantage puck. The refs now setting up the advantage line, which the Australians have to sit behind to give New Zealand some space to work their magic, I guess you could say.
Yeah, New Zealand done a really good job here pushing the Australians back to the halfway line, and even now pushing in towards the Australian goal. Australia, a bit of a switch here. She turns into the middle, but it's rolled off very quickly by that screening New Zealand winger, and pushing it all the way into the New Zealand attacking corner again.
Number 7 coming in nice and strong. Emily Kronfeld's been doing a lot of decent breath holds up in this corner. And nice drive, but the Australians just shutting it down.
Isabel Dunn there, the captain, going for a bit of a run, but just overpowered by multiple New Zealand sticks.
Stick infringement by the look of things by the New Zealand team.
I think that was a gloving call there.
Gloving call?
Against the New Zealanders.
It's hard to tell sometimes with the refs. Very similar hand signals.
Yeah, and sometimes you do get refs in here that make up their own hand signals.
Very true.
I know Pete Vanderwood from Australia, definitely known for doing that in the local competitions here. And of course, the players know exactly what he's talking about because he's telling them that out here in the commentary booth it can be a bit hard to tell what's going on. Referee now calling advantage, and the hand goes in the air, and it looks like it's going to be against New Zealand again here.
I think New Zealand is starting to get a little bit desperate to score another goal, so they're starting to lose a bit of composure and just need to hold themselves a bit better together, otherwise they're going to start getting some send-outs if they keep fouling.
Yeah, both teams here really drawing the fouls when they're in attack. Good defense, I suppose, by both teams, making the attacking players commit fouls to try to get the goals in. But it is a lot easier to just get the referee to push the opposing team back 3 meters than having to do it yourself down the side wall here. As it looks like it's locked up at nearly the halfway mark.
It's always a very tense spot to be in because you don't know whether they're going to suddenly break out and take it towards your goal bin or you're going to break out.
That's exactly what New Zealand's are doing here. They're breaking out. It looks like Australia might be able to contain them into the corner, but still a lot of ground gain here by this New Zealand team. And a lot of backs coming in for the reload. That's a flick,
and that's a goal.
It looks like a very clean goal by New Zealand there. The Australian backs just not ready for the additional players coming in behind as the puck spills behind those New Zealand forwards.
The score now 2 to New Zealand and 0 to Black, and it was number 5 who scored that. Olivia Houston, the captain, reigning from Auckland.
Yeah,
her brother is in the under 22 boys team in Nick Houston, so strong family genes right there. And it's a team timeout for the New Zealand team.
Yeah, really good work by the New Zealand team. They've seen how strong the Australians are defending in that corner, and they just pile down the middle of the pool, not letting the Australians get any chance to swim out into the corner or side of the pool, and just keep reloading those backs in through the centre. And we're going to see if the Australian coach is talking to his team. We're going to see if he can let them know exactly what they're doing wrong there. Maybe need to get a few more forwards down to intercept those passes back by the New Zealand team.
It's definitely hard for a coach when they've only got 1 minute to completely turn a game around, but I've seen it before. Many teams have come back from a bigger goal difference than this. So the New Zealanders definitely can't let anything off, as there's still 8 minutes to go in the second half. I think it's 8 minutes.
Australia getting the puck very early and flicking it straight into this New Zealand line. It looks like New Zealand's managed to clear it out to the side though. Both teams seem very happy to play up this wall as well this game. And it looks like Australia now driving down that back wall. New Zealand's turning around very quickly though. And New Zealand now with the advantage, pushing it into that Australian corner. We'll have to see if they can get it out of there quickly or whether it's going to be another extended battle to see who can push the puck. down that
Another
wall.
drive
It looks
from
like
New
it's
Zealand.
still into the middle.
But-
Australia.
Oh,
Great work from those New Zealand players getting around the outside and putting another goal in. And this is looking dire for the Australian team. Australia very close there to being able to screen it out. Number 8 from New Zealand scoring that goal.
Jade Beckham, number 8. That was a great drive from New Zealand. There's lots of numbers down, and Australia almost was able to recycle it out the side, but just didn't quite have that last person down to push it out past that little edge.
Yeah, it looked like for a minute like it was going to be one of those goal tray switches that you just barely pull off. But New Zealand doing a great job, having multiple members around the outside of that play, ready to jam it in the corner of the goal tray. Very important to keep all of the angles covered here.
Team timeout called by the Australian coach. Not quite happy with what just happened there, I don't think.
And it looks like the referees letting the Australian players know that they were already in his sights for a stick infringement coming into that play. Of course, he's going to let the New Zealanders have a chance to score before he pulls anything up. Good work by the referee. Just a couple of seconds left now. New Zealand have really turned this into a bit of a commanding lead. 1-0 up at half-time, and they've extended that out to 3-0. The New Zealand Obsidian team here playing against the Australian A team in the 2 versus 3 seeded playoffs for the final tomorrow morning.
The strikers off with 5.5 minutes to go in the second half. Be interesting to see what the coach from Australia has said to the Australian girls to try and get them back onto the scoreboard. The game still is not over, that is for sure.
And New Zealand very quick to that strike, and they're pushing it back into the Australian defence. I'm not sure if Australia is going to let them take it all the way to the corner, though. It looks like they've held them a couple of metres out. Always good, turning that corner and getting into attack when you're doing a rotation on the back wall. Very difficult. Every metre you can get after that back corner, very important. It's going to be a free against New Zealand here. Did you see what the call
didn't
was?
see what the call was.
Maybe obstruction, if I had to guess, but very hard to tell when it's so far away from our cameras here.
Yeah, when refs are standing in the way of refs.
The Australians doing a bit of a 45 here. She's got the option wide. New Zealand, very smart job of covering both of those players there.
Great work holding on to the possession, but the middle player, I think that was the number 6, Sarah Wilson, did some great work at doing a massive breath hold and just holding ground right in the centre of the pool.
The Australians putting a lot of numbers over the top. Unfortunately, it doesn't do much if you can't get the flick through. And those players looking very out of position here. Of course, when the flick does come through, you look like a genius for positioning so far forward.
The Australians seem to be scrambling quite a bit here, with New Zealanders holding a nice strong position on the bottom, all looking quite calm in the water. Can't quite see what's happening on the puck.
Of course, it's a lot easier to be calm on the puck when you're 3
great
goals
break
up.
from the Australian. Perfect timing as the New Zealanders just popped up at the wrong time.
And she's got support on the outside as well, continuing that 45 drive, passing back to the back. We'll see if she wants to go in the middle. It looks like she's content to take it all the way to the wall, really making these New Zealand backs swim to cover her. And it looks like the drive's continuing.
Advantage being played by both refs by the goal bin.
New Zealand doing a great job to cover that one out. Couldn't quite see what player that was from New Zealand, but the referees.
Stick infringement being called by both refs. Good to see it when both refs are agreeing on a call. Means that they're doing their job properly.
Indeed it does. And it looks like the referees were content to let Australia have a crack at goal, but when the New Zealand's cleared it out, they of course had to call up the free. Lots of Australian numbers in this goal tray now, and of course all the New Zealand players pushed right back against the back wall.
Great flick up the middle. Great work from the New Zealanders driving up the middle, getting a bit of ground, but the Australians turning it around, but there seems to be a bit of a back tackle. Australia spreading it wide onto the far wall, opening up the space again, not letting New Zealand take that break out.
And New Zealand had really strong body position on the goals, not letting the puck get anywhere near that goal as the Australian flick comes through and it's just busted straight out the middle. of that New Zealand goals. New Zealand now, a bit of a swim away. She might have got around all of the Australian backs. You can see the Australian backs sprinting to get there, but it looks like the New Zealanders got
away with
enough. Great work there.
That's always an impressive effort when you're near to the end of the second half and someone's got enough gas to just keep going. That was number 2, Alicia Samuels from the New Zealand Under-18 Obsidian team.
And all the way, really, from almost their own goal tray. Really great work by that New Zealand player.
And with only a minute and a half to go, the score is now 4 Obsidian, 0 Australia.
And you've always got a bit more energy when you've got that puck on your bat, don't you, Devin?
Oh, that's very true, especially when you've got someone right on your shoulder. You don't want to let them catch you. And it seems that the New Zealanders are off, but the Australians had a late start on their strike. Not quite sure what happened there. They looked either a bit confused or a very strange tactical play.
Maybe some late subs coming in. I also wasn't quite watching, but definitely a little bit late coming into that play. And New Zealand are going to capitalise, pushing it right back into the Australian defensive half. Still a lot of play on that wall. Both teams feeling quite confident there.
I can imagine New Zealand wanting to get another goal on them just to assert their dominance, whereas Australia would just be wanting to get one on
Australia, good work getting through all those players, but it looks like it was
gloving.
Yeah, they're using a glove to do so. And the Australians pushed back just less than a minute, I would imagine, in this game.
Advantage line has been set up. New Zealand taking it. Surely there's only about less than a minute to go now.
Looks like New Zealand content just to push down that wall ever so slowly. Already 4 goals up against the Australians. Really great work from them today. And it looks like they've secured their spot in the final tomorrow. Good effort by these Australian girls, but maybe just not as much defense as they needed to hold out the great numbers we've seen from New Zealand today.
Doing well, and that's game over for the Obsidian versus Australian A. Final score 4-0. Obsidian 4, Australia 0. Game next up is...
that would be another under-18 women's game. It's going to be the New Zealand Diamond team against the Australian B team. And that's the 1st seed versus 4th seed in this competition. And they'll be playing to verse the New Zealand Obsidian team tomorrow morning.
It'll be a fantastic game if the Australian B team really step it up and put some pressure on the New Zealand Diamond. And it'll be quite exciting to see a bit of an upset today in Hobart.
Indeed it would. We're just going to pause the stream here for a minute to reset. We'll be back in just under 13 minutes with that next game for you, so don't go anywhere.